and welcome to this edition of the Blether with me, Gary.
And me, William, and it's great to be joining you again, wherever you are in the world, to bring you an informal chat with the people who make Scottish country dancing and its music what it is.
And last time was indeed just that when we were joined by Robert and Michael from Scots on the Rocks in Sydney, Australia, who told us about their successful approach to recruiting new dancers.
Yeah, and what some great ideas these lads had, and all the best, everybody in Australia, if you're watching. But this month, we are delighted to be joined by a gentleman. And we don't use that word lightly, Gary, do we?
Well, nobody uses it about us, put it
No, we
that
don't.
way.
No, they don't. No, no, they never have. No. And this man is respected across the globe for his sheer professionalism when it comes to music for Scottish country dancing.
Absolutely, and it gives us the greatest of pleasure to welcome scroll recipient, no
Hey,
less, Jim Lindsay to the Blether. Welcome, Jim.
Hello there. Nice to see you.
hi, Jim, and many congratulations first on behalf of all the members across the globe on your Scroll Award. Very well deserved.
Oh,
Tremendous.
thank you very much, and it's a great honour to receive that. Really, I wasn't expecting it at all, so I'm really honoured to get that.
And of course, you got a branch award from Perth and Perthshire
Uh,
earlier in the year.
That's great, which was an
Yeah.
even bigger surprise actually, because I was playing at the dance and didn't
Yeah,
know anything
that's
about
right.
it.
And,
Yes,
un and unfortunately, both handed over by the same guy. If only it'd been a year earlier, Jim. If only it'd been a year earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
I was a bit worried about you actually, Jim, at the branch with the branch award because it was at the Perth Centenary Ball that we
Yeah.
surprised you with the branch award, and I thought you were going to fall off the stage.
Well, I was saying to the rest of the band, if we get off quick, we'll get an extra 5 minutes off while they do this award thing. But we didn't quite make it in time, you know.
No, that's tremendous. That's tremendous. But Jim, a lifetime in music, of course. And before we even start, your good lady wife, Davina, is also a musician.
That's correct.
And she had a lucky escape because I studied music at Napier College in the old days. Some people will be very surprised, to even suggest that I studied music, but I did. I really wanted to study geography, but anyway, that's another story. And Davina was there the year before me. She left the year I arrived.
That's correct. Yes, you just missed you.
Oh, she is lucky. How lucky is she?
But
She got out.
we've had the same lecturers, and we met up and we talked about it a number of years ago in Perth. But anyway, but that's enough about that. Jim, your early life with music. Then, when did it all start?
Well, being a child in the 1950s, that was the heyday of Scottish dance music, and it was very popular. And my parents were huge fans of Scottish dance music. So I was brainwashed from a very early age that I was going to play the accordion. You'll play the accordion, just like Jimmy Shand. And right enough, when I was 6, I got an accordion for my birthday, but it was an old 1920s thing, and it hardly worked at all. But I got sent for lessons, and that's how it all started, really.
And was it Scottish music that you started learning, or was
Well,
it other types as well?
Um, the lady I went to for lessons, Mrs. Gallia, her husband was Maltese. Um, she was very good at getting people to play tunes. In retrospect, she wasn't maybe so good at teaching you technique and musical theory and things, but she was very good at getting people to play tunes. So you just got tunes, new tunes every week, and it was all kinds of music, like popular tunes of the 1930s and 40s, and a few Scottish things in there as well, obviously. So by the time, I was 10, I had a huge repertoire of tunes I could play. And that's when I started playing for dancing, really, about the church socials and that kind of thing.
But talking technically about music here, that's interesting because uh, I learned piano as a kid, but I can honestly say I didn't enjoy it. I went through the Royal Schools of Music exams, which meant you learned three pieces almost in a year to sit the exam, and that's all you learned. And
Yeah,
I found that really dull, really boring. And, I think the approach that your teacher had maybe and of course, if you go to Japan with the Suzuki method, that's exactly what it is. It's the kids
yeah,
just copy, They just copy and they play tune. They've no idea technically what they're doing. They just play tunes and copy, but they learn things so much. But it's always with the enjoyment first and foremost, and the technique comes second. Where have we heard that before in Scottish country dancing? Eh?
Anyway, it was good for your confidence as well,
Yeah.
because people recognised what you were playing and said, "Oh, that's really good." Whereas you were playing some scales or something, they were pretty bored. So.
So you could stand up and perform at a very early age because you knew
Oh
tunes.
yeah. I was doing concerts from the time I was 6.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the concerts are great for building that confidence, as you say, aren't they, Jim?
Yeah.
William and I have done them. Certainly not as a musician for me, but going around doing sketches and jokes and all that kind of stuff at women's rural institutes and pensioners clubs and the guild and that kind of thing. But it really builds confidence. And did that help kind of you become confident enough to kind of start the band and for playing for dances and things like that?
Yeah, well, as I say, I was playing at church things, socials and things from the time I was 10, but the time I was 13, I was playing professionally, because you got to remember back in these days, it was before the days of karaoke's or discos and things. So any celebration, it was a case, we'll get a box player. And if you were lucky, a box player and a drummer. And you're expected to do the whole range of stuff from the, what we'd now call ceilidh dances, but it was just called dancing then.
Right.
And the ballroom and Latin American and some pop tunes of the day and things. So you had to, and play for the singers. We'll get Auntie Jeannie up to give us a song. What are you going to sing? Oh, such and such. And what key is it in? Oh, I'll start, you just follow. That was the way it went, So
yeah, I had a wonderful accompanist here, Ewan McGowan, who worked with me for 40 years, and that's how Ewan learned as well. In fact, he played a lot in the Hole in the Wall here, which was Max Hulison's place.
I've been there.
Yeah, where the Accordion and Fiddle Club started, and they've just celebrated, I think it's 60th anniversary.
Yeah, well, it could well be.
Yeah, with Max there. But anyway, that was one of those places where folk just got up to sing, I'll start, son, you follow. And it meant, Ewan could play any key anywhere, bagpipers. And as Gary said, going around the rurals and the guilds and all the rest of it, my goodness, that's where I cut my cloth as well. And I must thank these folks, for having you there as a kid of 13, 14, and I still do them, and I love to do them. It's tremendous, great.
And the best thing is if you get invited to perform at the Women's Rural Institute, you get asked to judge the tray bake competition or the toffee competition or the tablet competition, and you think, yes, this is wonderful. But then you could choose.
In a way, I remember being at a place called Beatock, which is near Moffat, where our family friends weekend was. Beatock Rural one night, and I had to judge 15 jars of marmalade.
Oh.
Well, after the third jar, it just all tasted the same. But I found out who the treasurer was, and I found out who and that helped a bit. But no, great nights, absolutely great. And Jim, you would experience it.
That'd be good.
Anyway, back to the music. So you learned all kinds of tunes, and before we go any further, I hope you've got your box with you, have you?
Yes, it's sitting here.
You wouldn't like to shove it on there and maybe give us something other than Scottish, because I know you are an expert on this machine. All sorts of stuff. So I'm sure our members would love to hear the great Jim Lindsay with something else. What have you got up your sleeve, Jim, for us?
Well, there's nothing particularly way out this time. In fact, it's original for a Scottish country dance, would you believe?
Oh.
The dance is called Marigold. And it's a 40-bar jig. But the actual original tune for it is called Belfiore, which is Pretty Flowers, I believe. And it's actually an Italian tarantella.
Okay.
So I'll give you a wee burst of that, but it won't be at dancing speed. It'll be at tarantella speed.
Is there any chance you can sit back a wee bit and we'll see the bit more of the accordion? Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. Thank you very much. Excellent. Here we go then. Jim Lindsay. Oh, Jim, that was great. And at one time, I knew what a tarantella was. I think when I was at Napier with your good lady wife, but I've kind of forgotten all that. But it's all to do with the rhythm, isn't it? And the dance and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Good.
Excellent. So moving on to your band then, when did you form a Scottish country dance? Or before that, who did you play with? What bands did you play with?
Well, the first Scottish country dance band that I played with, because I had like a little band before that called the Langtoon Trio, where we did more function stuff around the Kirkcaldy. But then when I was 17 or so, I started to play with Bobby Crow's band, and
Course.
I was well, a long story, but there was a chap worked beside my father who was a keen Scottish country dancer in Kirkcaldy. And when they had a big branch dance, my dad would go and help take tickets and things at the door, which meant I could go along and listen to the band. So over a few years, Bobby had done this dance and he knew that I played. And in fact, he gave me some, not tuition, but kind of mentoring on the box. And one night I went along and his piano player was ill or something. So he was short of a piano player. And I says, do you fancy jumping on the piano? Which I did. And that was it. That was me in the band after that. So I played piano for the first couple of years and then moved on to second accordion. So that's when I started playing for Scottish country. So I played with Bobby. I played with another band called Jim Dawson that maybe many people won't remember, but he did a couple of LPs. And then I played with the Olympians, of course, at summer school for many years, both accordion and piano. And at that time as well, I played with the Cavendish band,
Oh, yes.
which was actually Tim Wright's band. Tim Wright, who did a lot of recordings with the Society back in the 1950s. He was a big pal of Gene Mulligan. And it was a big band, like 5 fiddles, clarinet, accordion, piano, bass, and drums. And they did a lot of the reeling stuff, really real parties and that kind of thing by that time. And it was actually Tim Wright's brother-in-law that ran the band, Andy Bathgate, at that time. So I played with them, which was a different style, again, of music, Do you want me to keep going? I can go on for ages.
That's absolutely great. But I mean, you for our Scottish country dancers who've been coming to summer school for a long, long time, there's the Olympians and Bobby Crow. And of course, we had Neil Galloway on
Oh, yeah.
earlier in this, talking about the fact he is Bobby Crow's accordion.
Yes,
And
it's
so
actually nephew, isn't it? Yeah, so.
is his nephew,
Yeah.
yeah. So the links is absolutely tremendous with the society, all those intertwining links with the RSCDS. It's tremendous, really. And your own band, then, when did you form your own band? When did you settle on your own band? When did that happen?
Um, that would be in the early 1980s. I started my own band, but while still playing with lots of other bands as well. Because I was playing with a lot of bands, that I done stuff with Muriel, Ron Kerr, Simon Howe, Gordon Shand. So I was playing with lots of bands, but really started the band to do something a wee bit different, just to take the music in a slightly different direction. So we weren't really interested in playing for dances of any kind, really, never mind Scottish country. It was more a performing type thing we were doing. We started doing the take the floors and lots of accordion clubs and that kind of thing. And that's when the arrangement thing kind of started as well, in terms of doing a slightly different approach to the music. But yeah, so we did that for quite a number of years. And we did a CD called Freehand at that time, which is quite eclectic selection of music. But during all that time, I was still playing Scottish dance music with other bands,
Yeah, you mentioned the arrangements there, Jim, because I think that's one of the things you're very well known for is different arrangements of tunes, and as a dancer that makes it quite exciting because you're hearing something quite different on the floor when you go and dance to yourself. How do you go about that? As somebody that's not musical, it's amazing to listen to. But you know, the process behind it, how do you go around that musical arrangement bit?
Just a lot of it is tricks that William will know all about.
I
There are
wouldn't have been
musical
it.
tricks you can use. Um, like imitation and all that kind of thing. But a lot of it just comes from what you hear in your head. And it used to be in the early days that it would be quite sparse, the arrangement, and it would be up to the band members to add to that. But now, because the band, we don't do a lot of stuff as a six-piece band. So you can't really do the arrangements unless it's almost as a recording of some sort, or a big event. So it's all written out now because it's so much easier now to do that on the computer. And you can try out your ideas and hear them played back to you on the computer and things like that as well. So yeah.
And do you like everything written down for all the musicians? Obviously, apart from the drummer, but you'll give the drummer an idea what you want. But do you have everything written down in the dots for your other musicians in the band? For the music?
Yes, but I'm quite open to them interpreting that how they want to interpret it.
Uh-huh.
Or if they say, "Oh, that's impossible to play," then we can come up to some compromise or whatever.
And you have become quite well known for using two fiddles in the band.
Yes, yes. That came about because of doing book 49 for the RSCDS actually, because I was actually using two fiddle players at that time after Ron Kerr retired. And not together, but just one was doing Alison Smith was doing gigs south and west of Perth, and Gillian Ramsey was doing the gigs north and east of Perth, and that worked quite well. And then along came the recording, and I had this idea in my head for a while that it might make it a bit more interesting if you had the two fiddles. I find that it gives it quite a lot of drive. Fiddles I find quite gives the music a bit more drive than just, and if you've got two, that's better than one. And it allowed me to do some arrangements or harmonies without taking away from the dancing side of it, if you know what I mean. Because we just kept the basic rhythm going, but we're able to do some things between the fiddles and the two accordions and so on. So it gave a bit more scope for making it a bit more interesting.
Fantastic. Jim, the RSCDS, Scottish Country Dancing, I mean, you've been involved with a while. What has been your involvement? How much have you been involved with the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society? I mean, you've done everything really as a musician within the society. You've even played at the Coull at summer school, I believe.
Yes, thanks to you, yes. I believe that's up on YouTube still somewhere, the rather lengthy introduction that you give me. Yeah.
I think I just took no for an answer. Gary, I had to do the weather forecast because it was taking him all day to get his accordion on and plug things
Aye,
in.
okay.
You know what it's
He
you know
was
what it's
just
like, Gary, when
using the
you're
limelight.
I mean, you think everybody thinks the MC's got an easy job, don't they, Gary? But
Oh, they do,
when
and
when
it's
when
difficult.
folk are fond of bits round about you, you've got to hold the No,
Yeah.
but Jim, your involvement with the RSCDS, and it's been quite a close one, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I suppose as I was saying, I was playing with a lot with other bands, and doing the listening type thing with my own band. And it wasn't really till the mid 1990s, really, when Bobby Crow actually retired, was forced to retire as a band leader, that kind of took over that band. So I had two bands for a while, the dancing band and the performing band. But over time, they've kind of merged together. And that's really when I personally started to get involved with the RSCDS, although I've been playing for them for years and years and years, and before that, and done all the big dances and AGMs and everything like that. So and so that's how I started to get involved. And then when I escaped from the day job, at a relatively young age. 2007 was when I was able to start doing like the summer school and things like that. And that's when I really started getting more involved. And it was a conscious decision for me at that time to focus on Scottish country dancing, because all I was doing was playing from then on, and decided very much to focus on Scottish country dancing. Because I think you're quite appreciated doing that than you are if you're just a function band or something like that. And B, I thought there was opportunity to travel the world a bit with it, which has very much been the case, and that's something I think young musicians perhaps don't realise, that just the opportunities there are within the RSCDS to do that kind of thing, and it just kind of grew. But when I did go full time at the music, my assumption was that I'd be asked to play with other bands because I was available. But that didn't actually happen. It was me that was getting asked to do the gigs rather than playing with other people. So that came as a bit of a surprise. So it was, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're glad you did.
Absolutely.
What was your day job, Jim, prior to full time?
I worked for what was originally General Accident, a major insurance company, is now part of Aviva. And I worked mostly in IT, although I was working in strategic planning at the time of all the mergers started happening and the company disappeared. So I couldn't have been very good at that bit of the job.
So, Jim, what is this rumour that we hear about you retiring from the music
Well,
scene?
yes, it's true. I have already retired from having a band on the road as such. I'm still doing very occasional things, just locally here in Perth and Blairgowrie and places, just round about, just to keep my hand in, keep standards up. And I'm not saying I would never do something else again, but it'd have to be the right thing, just past the stage, I think, of driving around the country late at night in the middle of the winter kind of idea,
And I know that you and Davina like your holidays, you like going abroad, and
Yeah.
and it's great, isn't it? When you look at it down and go, well, we can't go then because I've got this gig there and there. Yeah, I know what it's like, and Gary knows what that's like as well.
But
So
it's
you
very
could,
sad,
huh?
though. That's very sad news, I
Yes,
have
it
to
is.
say, from
But
all of us that are dancers, to
yes,
hear that.
but Jim, now that you've sort of taken the shackles off, you can say what you like. How is the how is the RSCDS, and how do you see the future of Scottish country dancing and its music? How do you see it? Come
Um,
on.
in terms of the RSCDS, it's a very different beast now from what it was 50 years ago when I first started playing for them. It was very formal in these days. And like, for example, at summer school, when you were playing at the dance on the Thursday night, you had the committee sitting behind you on the stage, watching the dancers and making sure they were dancing properly and all that kind of thing. You remember that, William,
I do,
probably.
yes. Thanks very much. Yes, I do.
I don't.
No.
Which obviously is nothing like that now. And but you're probably the standard of dancing. I'm not talking about RSCDS events necessarily, but generally within the country is probably much lower than it was 50 years ago. But maybe that's not a bad thing either. It's more about the enjoyment. People would be maybe embarrassed if they got a bit older, if they went along to a dance 50 years ago because they weren't dancing nicely enough. But it's much more relaxed now,
And
that's good.
times of entertainment have changed, haven't they, as
Yeah,
well? Around, we were talking there about um, a, a celebration would have been an accordion, and if you're like a drummer,
yeah.
times have changed from that, and
Oh,
the
definitely.
heyday of the guilds and the WRIs and the all of these different kinds of groups, the theatre, the cinema, you're seeing all of that change now as well.
Yeah. I think the other thing I would say in terms of the music side of it is that, and maybe this is me being an old fart or whatever, but it's become.
I tell you what, you wouldn't have got away with that in the RSCDS 50 years ago either.
That's
I'll
true.
have to say you're in good company with William.
That it's
Oh.
become more less professional, I would say, in terms of the music. That musicians do it more for fun than treat it as a job, which it's a difficult one, because obviously there's fun to be had in the music, but I think perhaps the finer points of what's needed to support the dancers, and it's all about the dancers at the end of the day. It's not about how fancy tunes you can play. The point of supporting the dancers and the dancers being the most important thing is maybe getting a wee bit lost, I think. But that's just me being an old fat.
That's really interesting, Jim, to hear that, and absolutely, you're quite right to say what you say. But having said that, we have some great young dancers, we have some great young bands, we have some, I think, things have changed, and yeah, we need to recognize the world as a different place from where it was 50 years ago. It's a
Oh,
totally
definitely.
different place, and I think I think the RSCDS is sitting up and is dealing with that
Oh,
now, thankfully.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's changed even in the
Mhm.
past 5 years since COVID. It's changed massively,
Yeah.
and I think that has to be a good thing,
Yeah, it has to be a good thing for the future because you've got to
That's,
deal with where the world is now.
Yeah,
and we'll have
and the
to,
music has to change as well. I mean, I think the music has to keep evolving. Um, um, but at the moment, I think it's not necessarily moving forward. It's kind of stuck somewhere in the 1970s.
Okay.
as we go back to the arrangements and what we were talking about earlier, that you've been very innovative with, Jim. You've made a big difference in terms of, moving it on and bringing something different to it. One question I had for you is, over that long career that you've had in terms of music and playing for dances and concerts and all that kind of different stuff, are there any particular moments that stand out that are really memorable for you over that period?
Oh dear, dear, dear. Um,
There's a Paxman question for you, isn't it?
Oh, listen to that. Comparing himself with Paxman.
well, I think obviously playing some of the AGMs with my own band has been quite exciting because you get a big crowd, you know. Um, Lots of things all over. I mean, meeting musicians from other countries and working with musicians from other countries is wonderful as well. I was across in the States and did a thing where I was playing with American musicians. And while their style is a bit different from ours, I just really loved it because it was a chance to explore stuff. And, I wasn't restricted to playing the tune all the time or whatever because it was all fiddles and you could mess around just on the spur of the moment. And it was a really great to see how it works in somewhere else. So that was a good, yeah.
Well, Jim, we could talk all night, but we've almost come to the end of our wee chat, and we're delighted that you've joined us at this time with your Scroll Award and your Branch Award, and we've got these mugs, the Blether mugs. You're no getting one of them. I'm sorry,
I know.
they're restricted.
Yeah.
They don't grow in trees, do they? Got £2.40 and some print outfits
Well,
on.
at
I
least
see,
£2, and that was
Exactly.
just the postage.
I see you both get the same paint as well. Is that
Yeah,
paid
we
for?
do.
The worrying thing is as well, Jim, at the family and friends
Uh,
weekend, we both turned up with blue shirts on as
yeah.
well.
Mm.
So
That's
it's
happened
obviously a
quite.
uniform. It's happened a few times. It's obviously the
Yeah,
uniform.
yeah. Well, we look like a couple of off-duty policemen sometimes in these things. But Jim, no, listen, it's been absolutely terrific. Many congratulations. Do you and Davina get together and have a wee tune in the house, or does that just no happen?
It has happened in the past, yes, but it's the only thing we really fall out about is music, because we have different views on it.
Oh, brilliant. So you're better just playing dominoes or something, to be honest. Aye.
Yeah.
Oh, we should
No.
have had you both on the Blether. That would have been interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks again, Jim. And you're going to play us
No
out
problem.
anyway. But
Yeah.
before we do that, Gary, we've got a great look at him. He gets very excited about this.
I
Tell us
get
who we've got
excited at
on
this point, Jim.
next in the next Blether.
Yes, because I get to see Jim. I get the pleasure of announcing who's on next,
Ah.
next time that we're on the Blether, and very excited. Because William laughs at me. I get very excited about who's on next. We have someone who was at the Family and Friends weekend, actually, which was a great success. We should say it was a wonderful weekend in Moffat, where we had dancers of all different ages, and it was wonderful to see so many families there and dancing together. And a big shout out to the Youth Services Committee and Linda Williamson in particular for her organisation. Is she there?
No.
Oh, it was wasted. Um, for her organisation in particular, it went without a hitch as far as the dancers were concerned. Great teaching, great music. And one of the teachers at the weekend was Caroline Brockbank from Cayley Kids in Edinburgh. And she is an inspiration in terms of how she manages to motivate kids and beginners as well. She was great with beginners. So if you want to know more about all of that and how to be that inspirational teacher, then join us next time on the Blether with Caroline Brockbank.
Well done, Gary.
See, told you it was exciting.
Absolutely. But this has been one of the highlights for me, talking to this man who I
Absolutely.
know, Jim, you are respected across the music world in Scottish country dance, the Scottish country dance world. And it's been good knowing you, and I hope we will meet again, although you're retiring and we will get a chance.
I'm
Uh,
sure
and,
you.
and and I'm going to confess, because you and I did the Dundee Centenary Day School, and thanks very much for covering up with me for me when I miscounted one of the dances and the punters never noticed the difference. And Gary Coull, don't tell me you noticed, because Jim
I
did such
did.
a professional job, you had no idea that there was an extra 8 bars in there somewhere.
See, I was taught very well. So La Tempête was done very often at old time dances in
Aye.
Dufton. So I knew that one inside out. Jesse Stewart drilled that one into us. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But Jim and
I
I,
stay in with just
like two professionals we are, nobody noticed the join. Absolutely great.
no.
So any Jim, thanks very much. You're going to play us out. What are you going to play us out with then before we're back next time?
Going to be a set of reels. And it's actually the original. Well, the original is the Granite City reel, which was one of the dances that was done for the. Well, I can't remember what it was for. It was a around the world thing, wasn't it? It was a
Oh yes, that's right.
Ceilidh around the world or something. It's more of a
Absolutely.
Ceilidh dance.
Yeah.
So that's the original tune, and then there are 3 reels after that.
Fantastic. Well, Jim, thanks very much. And until we all meet again on the Blether next month with Caroline Brockbank, it's cheerio from him and me.
And it's cheerio from me and him.
And it's cheerio from me.
Great, Jim. Take it away.